Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Robin from Western Massachusetts. It is a freezing day here in Western Mass, Sunday, May 30th, first May 30th in my history here that I've had to turn on the heat, and 2021. And welcome to the Morgellons Call of the Week. So I have had a long journey struggling with Morgellons, mites, springtails, fleas, bed bugs, all these things that were vectors and brought Morgellons into my home. I got clear, and then I got reinfected when I opened a box that I hadn't disinfected that had been enclosed for over 3 years. And then I got, I'm mostly clear, but there are spots of little infested spots in my home, and I just recently discovered I had all my clothes hanging in my closet with zippered, like garment bags that could hang, except that where the hanging part is, there's a big hole. So, they weren't really protected. So I've spent the whole weekend rewashing with borax and ammonia and enzyme cleaner and Clorox blue powdered pool shock, everything in my closet, and then taping up the holes around the hangers. That's an important thing. You think everything's good and you miss one thing. Luckily I caught this and it didn't affect me, but I had 4 coats in one bag that never actually closed. And when I washed it and then put it in the dryer, it looked like there were so many dead mites. It looked like the dryer was filled with black sand. It was a little bit horrifying. The good news is, with the mites, you only really see them when they're dead. So they were dead, and I am moving forward, and I'm grateful to be here. We're all on a journey together. I'm grateful for the amazing support and friendships that I've developed through this call. And now, so I just wanted to share that, I also discovered, I made my own ice cream, stage 2 ice cream a couple weeks ago, which was incredible, but I discovered that if you eat stage 2 ice cream 3 times a day for a week, you could activate parasites in your body. It's not recommended. So anyway, Richard wrote this book, How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites. And the cool thing is that unlike the medical profession, Richard has never stopped learning or searching for answers and solutions. And he's working on the 11th edition of his book. There are 10 editions out. You can buy the book at his store, and it's also a free download. The crux of his program is the King Diet, and that's in the book, which is amazing because it starves parasites out of your body, all kinds of parasites. It's a great diet for Lyme disease and other parasites. It's just amazing. So anyway, I'm so grateful that Richard is here. He's here to answer questions, to share his experience and knowledge. He's available to help people, that you can email him. And anyway, so hey everybody, here's Richard.
Thank you, Robin. Pleasure to be here. Memorial Day. We want to thank all of our veterans and our armed service people. Without their service, we may not have the freedoms to be here today. Thank you all. Also to note that for the veterans and armed service people, members of the armed service, we do have a discount store for you that you qualify for. So, Ethel informed me, Ethel, our greeting coach, who some of you may have met if you got here before 4 o'clock, and we call her the greeting coach because when people learn of us, they learn of us through a particular website, generally debridingsoap.com, where you read about the program, what it entails, how it works. And then if you're interested, you give your name and your email, and you get put on our list. And some people offer their phone numbers. And the phone numbers are sent to Ethel, and she reached each and every one of them. Well, she tries to. You know, it's amazing. People don't list the right phone numbers, or they don't answer their phones, or, you know, whatever reason. And she has informed me that she has spoken with 1,000 people since the program started a short while ago. So I sent some questions to Ethel to ask her to get a general feel for the type of people and what they're going through. So Ethel, could you share us your experience over the last, 6 months, or how long has it been since you've been doing this?
Hi, Richard, and hi, everybody who's on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You're very loud.
Oh, great. I usually am. Okay. I'll back off a little bit. After I sent you the email saying that person number 1,000 had been referred to me, I was thinking it had been 2 years, but actually I went and I'm kind of old school. I write everybody's name down on a tablet so that I can notate, talk to them, left a message, hang up, or, mailbox issues. And it had only been 14 months. I started this in 2020. March 23rd was the first report that I sent to Richard. And here we are, the end of May. So it's been 14 months, and Richard has sent me 1,000 referrals. I have not physically talked to each person, but I have tried to contact each one of those 1,000. I have called all of the numbers, and I would say maybe 20%, 15% of those I have been able to have conversations with. And these are people from throughout the country. We even have had some people from Canada, some from some of the islands. We have a gentleman who calls in from Australia quite often. They're all walks of life, all age groups, all ethnicities, and all sufferers from this condition. And when the ones that I talk to, basically they will tell me they are so happy to know that they are not alone. They're not happy knowing that someone else is suffering, but to know that this is not just a condition that they are experiencing makes them feel less lonely. They are really glad to know that they are not delusional, because that's the experience that I would say 98% of us have when we go to the conventional medical community. They kindly tell us that we're suffering from delusional parasitosis. And so I assure them that they are not alone in getting that particular diagnosis. They are also very, very thankful to know practical ways that can help to alleviate the itching, the biting, the crawling, the popcorning. And those who have time, I will try to share with them briefly the 4 approaches that are used in Richard's protocol, starting with the diet. I tell them, if you can do one thing, please get rid of the sugar in your diet. And anything that's going to convert quickly to sugar, that would be the beer, the wine, the alcohol. And so, and I give them the hope that you don't have to always be that restricted in your eating, but you must do that initially so that you can get the program to work for you. They also are very encouraged to know that they can get better. And I tell them that from my experience, that you can get better. I have gotten better, and that it's a lot of work, but I'm worth it, and so are they. They have a community to support them and to share information with. They have someone to laugh with, to cry with, and to gain strength from with the buddy system. Many call me back, or I call them, and we have sometimes some really good just laughing, or sometimes we do cry together. But just to know that you're not alone, that you have people who are experiencing this, and because you can be made to feel so much like a pariah, or to be so misunderstood. So to have members of a community who have a kinship, who understand this, and give you the strength and the hope that you can get beyond it. And we share ideas on how to still have a life, even with this disease. I bought a $100 piano, and I play all kind of tunes. I doodle. I didn't think I was artistic. I doodle. I started listening to books on Audible because there were times when my eyes were affected and I couldn't read. And so now I think of it as like my bedtime stories that I probably missed out as a kid. So I love listening to the audio books. So we do a lot to encourage each other, and I think these are the basic sentiments that people will express me that they are looking for when I reach out to them. And it's been a pleasure for this 14 months to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ethel. Your service is invaluable.
Thanks, Richard.
It's a lead into what Margie's going to be talking about, and I didn't even realize this. Go ahead, Margie. What's our principle for the day?
Margie?
Okay. The principle is altruism, and it's something that you might not even consider with this illness. And I first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Richard and Robin and Chris and Ethel. They are absolute models of altruism, and I know their hearts are in their number one focus is to help others. And the first, I'll just quickly go over the first two qualities of resiliency. The first one being having a spiritual relationship or practice, and that is the bedrock of having resiliency. And that sounds all cushy and comfy, and isn't that wonderful? Well, not always. In fact, many of the most incredibly best known spiritual people on the earth have had very difficult times. And that has brought them an incredible amount of resiliency. And the second quality of resiliency is the quality of I forget what it is. I'm sorry, I'm having a blank. What did I talk about last time? Isn't that terrible? Well, anyway, I'm just going to, that will come back to me. Sorry, I apologize. The third quality of resiliency, what we're doing today, is altruism. And I was looking over this and reading about it, and in this situation that we're all in, and we're all at different stages of our recovery, we might feel as though we have nothing to give. And we might feel as though that, why should I help someone else? I'm really suffering here. I don't have one drop to give anyone else. And I can totally understand feeling that way. However, it would behoove you to make a little effort to reach out to someone else. And the reason being that it is its own reward. You hear, I think it was from the Bible, it's better to give than it is to receive. Well, that's not just because it's high and lofty better. It is because you actually get so many benefits from helping others. There's been studies to show, there was a study I was reading about that showed that dialysis patients and transplant patients who became support volunteers got better faster and stayed better longer. And it also, of course, it increases your personal growth. You realize how important it is to be connected to other people. So altruism is something you do for yourself, not for anyone else. When you're doing it, remember you're doing it for yourself. You're doing this because this is where your heart is. You're doing this because you know this is going to fulfill you. That's the purpose of helping others. And it does not have to be anything grandiose. It can be a very small gesture. And I'm going to practice a meditation practice together with everyone to offer it to you as a way of practicing altruism in meditation. And we'll move on to that. So the other thing, going back to the first quality of resiliency, would be building your house on stone. So always remembering that that's such an important part of your wellness, to have that daily practice, even if it's for a few minutes. And again, having, if your symptoms haven't quieted down, do not put this on another list of another thing I have to do, or the list of the other thing that you feel bad that you're not doing. Don't think that way at all. I'm offering it as an important part of getting better. But the most important thing to do in under any of these situations is to give yourself compassion, no matter what. The answer is always compassion. If you do a stupid thing, you go off your diet, you relapse because you did the wrong thing, the only answer is compassion, because that's what brings you back on the path, and that's bringing kindness to yourself. So I also read about people who had MS, and they also did a study with people with MS, and it showed that those who offered support to others out of their own illness, their lives dramatically changed for the better. So you do reap what you sow. And the other obvious thing is it increases your social support. So what we do to others, they often do unto us. So, and that's not the reason we do it, but often we get back what we give. So it's so important not to do not completely abandon that gift to give to others, even in the smallest way.
Margie, are you familiar with the late Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer? In one of his books, he makes a very important point, and that is exactly what you're saying. By helping others without expecting anything in return, the amazing thing is that your serotonin levels rise, offsetting depression.
Exactly.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it opens your heart.
You give not to help them, yes, to help them, but you get back in return oftentimes many-fold.
That's right.
That's that biblical saying, it's better to give than receive. It actually is better. It's technically better. You receive better things when you give. So, yeah.
In my own experience, I worked with people for many years as a consultant on a one-to-one basis, and I listened to all the problems that humanity can practically have. And you would think that I can see how people get burnt out, but in every case, I felt that I got more myself than I necessarily gave. I learned more and grew more with everyone that I ever worked.
That's beautiful, Richard.
Yeah.
And Margie, I feel I would never wish Morgellons or skin parasites on anyone, but because I have chosen to try and give back and reach out and help people, it turns the whole experience into a blessing. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. When you thought there was never ever going to be any hope, you find that now you can give hope.
That's right. That's right. Stay hopeful.
Yeah, and I'm going to put my cap.
And while we're talking about this, Ethel is a coach, Robin is a coach, Margie is participating with us. She's a nurse at a prestigious hospital and has worked with Dr. Herbert Benson, who is one of the leaders in the field of stress management going back to the last century. Without people such as him, we wouldn't have the comprehension and understanding of how stress affects us on a daily basis from which we can learn. But we are a small community here, and we're looking for more volunteers to help us out because, I mean, it can be taxing, and we're looking for people to volunteer as coaches. You don't have to have your life back 100% as I do, or as Robin almost has. I mean, I think she basically has her life back 100%. She's dealing with little things that get out of her bag, and the idea is that she caught it. She caught them. I put out an email last week about change of seasons, because change of seasons can be a real big relapser. You take a piece of clothing out of your closet that you forgot you didn't disinfect when you put away, and you put it on, and within 20 steps you're totally infected, and it can cost you 6 months to get back to where you were. So it's something that we have to be vigilant every time we look at a box that we have in our home or anywhere. You know, Robin's Pandora box that she opened up after and got reinfected. So we have to ever be vigilant in everything that we have put away and taken out of storage, and when we go into attics and places like that. We have to be careful to avoid getting reinfected. But we're looking for coaches. You don't have to have your life back. Only that you have gone along the path, that you have progressed to the point where you know where you're going and you know you're going to get there. That is tremendously helpful. You can help so many people that have just joined us and are totally blown away and confused and overwhelmed and have no idea whether their life is ever going to be anywhere near normal. So you don't have to be totally cured. Well, there is no cure, but you don't have to be totally to the point where I can eat everything. I can have everything I want. As Ethel said earlier, the diet is not restrictive forever. It goes in stages. And as you are very restrictive in the beginning, you can advance to stage 2 and then advance to stage 3 where I am, and you can eat anything you want. So we're looking for volunteers. So we need a volunteer to take over Barbara's position as our buddy coach. She's an herbalist, and she's very busy formulating our formulations for Parasite Stop, which is purpose is to reduce dopamine uptake in the brain, and she's working on mouth repair, because many of us are hit in the mouth with Morgellons. It destroys our teeth. It destroys our gums. It destroys the biome in the mouth, and this herbal formula has the possibility of totally turning those things around that she's working on right now. So we're looking for volunteers. Please step up and help us, and by helping us, you help yourself. Now, we did not plan this.
Richard, can I just say a little bit more about altruism?
Back to you.
I just wanted to say the second quality of resiliency is optimism. And it's these are in order for a reason, in that it's connecting to your inner source and continuing to foster that relationship, because it's so important to, you know, in the Bible it says, don't build a house on sand, build it on stone. The stone is your spiritual connection. And continue to nurture it in the smallest way that you can. Doing one small thing every day is very powerful. You do not have to do anything grandiose. You don't have to sit and meditate for a half hour even. I'm going to offer a meditation that I think is a beautiful meditation. That's it can be a walking around meditation. You don't even have to sit to do it. Because I know how distracting this is. I know how horrific it is to pay attention when you are symptomatic. It's all you can think of is how to make this stop. So, and that's a good train of thought, and that's a good way to go. And that's adaptive and sane to say, how can I make this stop? But it's also very important to try to just keep that connection. And, you know, there's a saying, if you take one step toward God, God will take 1,000 steps toward you. But you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything grandiose. That's all I want to say. The first quality is having a spiritual connection. The second quality is optimism. So we need to believe of what's going to be. And I think Robin said this a couple of weeks ago, that optimism is looking at that positive future. That's what optimism is. It's not denying the suffering you're having now. It's our responsibility now. It's always my responsibility to seek support. It's great if it falls out from the sky, but it's my responsibility to make that phone call and reach out to others, to get that support, to keep my optimism going. Even if I'm in the middle of suffering, we need to keep that optimism. And then today we're talking about altruism, and you know, one thing you can do if you're in the crux of the beginning of your recovery is just think about someone who's worse than you are. And if you don't know someone personally who is, just read the news. I mean, there's lots of people all over the globe that are suffering from horrific diseases, have no modern medicine, are horribly suffering every single day. So we can always compare down. So, you know, compare up for inspiration, but compare down for compassion. And if you start thinking, why me? Start comparing down to people who have a heck of a lot less than you. We have a chance to get better here in this country. And so I'm going to leave you with a meditation today. And it comes from a Buddhist discipline in northern India, and it's called the Mecca Meditation. And what I would ask people to do is right now just turn, if you have radio in the background or something like that, distracting, just find yourself a comfortable place to sit. And if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can close your eyes. And if you are sitting, make sure your feet are on the floor. And if there's, you know, if you can be in a quiet environment when you're practicing this at home, you know, even if you can just, you know, disinfect a closet and put nothing in there and sit in the closet. I mean, whatever you can do. I talked about this last time I was here. I think the very most, important thing you do, other than start the diet and stick to it, is get one room that's disinfected where you can sit in peace. And just focus on your breath and allow your mind just to repeat, may I be filled with peace. And then let your mind repeat, may I be filled with joy. And then the third phrase is, may I be free from all suffering. And then just keep the breath going. May I be filled with peace. May I be filled with joy. May I be free of all suffering. May I be filled with peace. May I be filled with joy. May I be free of all suffering. So that is the first part of the meditation. I'm just kind of giving you an overview of it right now. And you can just work on that part of the meditation in the beginning. Just maybe for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. So just do that for extra time or for a minute in the beginning, or 2 minutes. And then once you feel pretty comfortable with that, you can move on to the second part of the meditation, and that is to imagine someone you love. It might be a child, or it might be a friend you find, someone, a benefactor, someone in your life that you really love, unquestionably, easily. And then you just picture them and say to them in your mind, may you be filled with peace. Picture that person. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. And then picture them again. May you be filled with peace. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. And then once again, may you be filled with peace. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. So in the beginning, maybe all you're going to do is give it to yourself, but I recommend that you move up and over to the person, the benefactor of that you love, and start sending them the metta, the wishes of these prayers, peace, joy, freedom from suffering. And then this is sort of like you can graduate now, and some people go to someone they don't know. Could be the mailman, could be someone you see at the grocery store, maybe someone you saw in traffic, or their face struck you or something. And you can send metta to them. And then sort of the graduate course is finding someone you have a resentment towards. Finding someone who you really feel angry towards, or you feel as though they have done you wrong in some way. And you can picture them and say, may you be filled with peace. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. May you be filled with peace. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. Think of that person and say, may you be filled with peace. May you be filled with joy. May you be free of all suffering. And if you practice that on an ongoing basis, you will start to change. Your heart will start to open. It will stimulate more healing in your body. So it's impossible to not benefit from giving love to others. So in the beginning, it's usually giving metta to oneself. That's recommended. Start with yourself. And maybe practice that for a week or 2 or more. Maybe you want to just keep doing it if you feel good. You'll find that when you do that, you'll have a little bit more for others without even trying.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Margie.
Doing that with people you don't like is a real challenge. That's college. That's past college. So thank you. If anyone would like to share your experiences, if you've texted into either Robin or Chris or called and would like to share about the topic that we're just discussing before we close, about altruism, And
Can I just say, I'd like to say something else, Richard. It is recommended to start with yourself. You don't feel as though you need to go to someone that you feel resentful towards. You want to really build yourself up first before you go further than that.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, absolutely. Just as you shared when you instructed us how to do it. Okay, anyone open the lines? Any questions from anybody before we close this segment?
No, but I'd like to share something. I love this meditation. It's really beautiful, Margie, and I want to thank you for sharing it. I was reading this book called The Healing Light, and at the end of the book, it has a very similar thing where it tells you to pray for people that you're angry with. And I was very angry with this one person, and so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I did, and they called me up, except my response was, so have you called to apologize? I had to go back to the beginning, but eventually we did reconcile somewhat. But I just, you don't have to get it perfectly right for it to start working, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else like to share? All right, this will close this segment of the meeting, and we'll go to question and answer.